teammate, football player, man of the community. Man, he's done it all, and he would be sorely missed, man. He, one of the greatest memories I have of Frank was divisional against Tampa Bay, 4th and 1. We run downhill to Craig Reynolds, man, and he's got big boy. And he hits him, and he kind of hits the knee, and then he has to get back up and tie up the block. We score, man. It was huge, this type of player he was. So he'll be missed. But, man, this train goes on. Train rolls on. And it's the next man up. And so we will be ready to go when camp hits. We'll be ready to go. We got plenty of versatility up there. We like the guys that we drafted. We like our free agents that we brought in, the young guys, Kingsley being one of those guys, among others. So I got all the respect for Frank Ragnow. And, man, I love him to death. And the other thing is, quite frankly, some of the stuff about contract talk, that's disrespectful. That's not what this was ever about. So, anyway, love you, Frank. Appreciate you. OTA number 6. This is the last one. Right? We only go in 2 weeks, so we can get them in 3 days early, get ready for the Hall of Fame game training camp. And so it was really just to get an introduction on what we're doing. Probably more up to speed defensively. It's just about everybody getting on the same page with how Shep wants to do things. But, man, we're cooking pretty good right now. I like where we're at. Offensively, same thing there. It's about what Johnny really wants. We've tweaked a few things here and there, more of, how he sees it, how he wants things run, how he wants to isolate certain players. And a lot of the focal point was J-Mo and Gibbs, Laporta, among others, and then getting the offense in. I thought we did that, man, and I thought we really honed in on their versatility and all the things they can do. So, same thing on special teams with Phip, man. He's my guy, right? He's me and Phip now. Here we go, going on year 5. So I like where we're at there, certainly. And look, we're good. We're good with where we're at. We're about to get a little break. Players are going to stay in shape. They'll be ready to go, and we're going to hit the ground running in training camp. And they know that. We'll be ready to battle. Questions?
Yeah, with Frank, he shared a sentiment I think a lot of guys share when they're out of the lineup. They feel like they're letting their teammates down. I imagine as he weighed this decision, that was part of the agonizing part of it. Can you just explain how he's communicated with the organization over the spring here of how long he's been thinking about this, how he's helped maybe you guys prepare for the possibility?
Well, we knew that there was we knew he was contemplating it for a while, but there was never yes or no or whatever, and we did our best to give him his space and let him sort it out, and which he did, and it was kind of one of those, hey man, you're going to come to a decision at some point here. We certainly like it before the off season's out, and he did, and it was time. And listen, whenever it's your time, it is the right time, because it's not fair to him and it's not fair to his teammates or anybody else. So I respect the hell out of him for the decision. It's not easy to do. But he knows himself, and I always respect that.
It seems to be a little bit of a disconnect as far as toward the end of the season. He said he was, healthy finally, missed almost no time.
Yeah.
And suddenly now, did it come as certainly came as a surprise to most people, but the organization was surprised?
Yeah, I think when those come up, they're a little bit of a surprise. But I think everybody's different. And to answer your question, what happens is, there was no indication that, he did. He had one of the best seasons he ever had. He was the healthiest he's been in a long time. And you're like, man, this is, he's in his prime right now. But if you're him, you also got to remember the amount of time and work and detail spent on taking care of his body, the training, the rehab that goes into it before he even trains. You're talking about hours and hours and hours. I'm going to work on this an hour before. I've got to train for 2 hours. Then I got to make sure I get the game plan in, right? That's another hour. And then we got to get ready for practice. And so it's just the physical and mental side of it, man. If, you know, you got to be of a certain mind frame. And if you feel like you're not there, the time is right to walk away.
Did Frank seek out your counsel personally regarding the matter?
He did.
Two-part question for you, Dan. Just your early impressions of the first round of Tyreek Williams, and the second part is who's been like a surprise offseason? Stan, I feel like I ask you that every year, but just from you get a chance to look at the roster for a while, who's been a surprise?
Well, Tyreek hadn't practiced. He's done a little bit of walkthrough, certainly been in the classroom. You know, I mentioned this last week, nothing's changed. These rookies, we're trying to get them right, man, before they get out for summer and we bring them back. We want them ready and healthy to go, full speed training camp. But knowing what we know and where he's at and what he can do, we like what he is. We like where he's at. He is smart. You know, he can get lined up. I know he's been grinding in the rehabilitation, the training, so that's good. You know, surprise, I got to be careful with all that again, right? I mean, because it's the same thing. I mean, without pads, how real is it? I know this. You know, you start talking about some guys that you see development that man, guys that we're counting on, and they're at a certain place, and you wanted to feel like, man, coming out of spring, they took a step up, knowing that it's only spring. Gibbs, J-Mo, you know, those are two guys that really stood out. I know this, the addition of Reed, Maddox, man, that looks good. Glad we got those guys. Man, they're going to fit right in with us. You know, so I can go down the list here, but those are a couple of guys probably that you know, that I think of.
You mentioned you've got options moving forward with center. A lot of those are pretty inexperienced, certainly in NFL game situations. How important is experience there? I know you got Graham. You know, when you're weighing who goes into week one as a starter.
Yeah, I mean, the experience is big. It is, but I think it's whether it's there or it's the guy next to you, that can help out a lot too. But you're going to need some experience somewhere in there, you know. And as long as you have that, you're okay. You know, I mentioned this before. Eric McCoy. Now he played center in college at Texas A&M when I was at New Orleans, and you know, Max Unger had just retired, and we were fortunate we drafted him, and he was plug and play, man. We put him in. I mean, he grew quickly, and I mean, by game 3, game 4, he was cooking. So doesn't mean you won't have growing pains, but it can happen fast. You know, the development can happen fast. I'm saying, for example, you put Tate in there, and if not, you know, is it Graham by him at guard who's helping him out? Or is Graham your center? Or is it one of these other guys? Is it Kingsley? So we're going to have options. You know, that's why we're excited about training camp. We're going to find this out. You know, we're going to let these guys go at it. We just signed Tristan Colon. You know, there's another option. Don't know a lot about him because he just got here. But we're going to have plenty. We still got Yodi here. We got guys.
One of the guys who seemed to stand out a little bit when we were here last week was Ennis. He had a really good training camp last year.
Ennis would be another guy that stood out, by the way. All right, you mentioned that. And Laporta had a good spring, too. But, yeah, Rakestraw certainly was another guy. Keep going, sorry.
Just where do you see him fitting in? It's a pretty crowded DB room. I know you guys like the depth, but, you know, what are the opportunities for him this year?
It's up to him. He's got an opportunity. All right, we're going to play the best guy. I mean, that's what competition is about. I mean, and the whole roster knows that. Man, if you're the best guy, we're not going to just sit there and no. It's the best guy. So he's going to have a chance to compete. We'd like to keep him outside right now and just let him go. And, you know, he had a good spring. And there again, we're in pajamas. But he's going to get a chance to compete and see how much he's grown and what kind of production he can have for us.
Why do you want to keep him on the outside right now? What is the thinking with him?
Well, I think we tinkered with some nickel last year, and it was probably a little too much, too fast for him. And we felt like once we did some things with him outside practice, things of that, man, he really began to grow. And I think that's right now, that's where he really belongs. That's where he can really take off. And, you know, the other thing, we still, you know, between Amik, you got Branch, you got Maddox. Like, we've got some guys that can play nickel. Reed can play nickel, you know. So I think right now that'd be the plan, and just let him take off.
And you said you have people, obviously, to plug in the offensive line. But for a team that leans on its offensive line so much built around that, is it unsettling to have that interior kind of influx?
I mean, look, it's different knowing that Frank's out of the fold now. It is. You know, I hate to use the word unsettling, but there is acknowledgement like, okay, you know, that's where we're at, and now we need growth. We need development quickly, you know, and look, that's why Hank Fraley's the coach in that room. He's done a hell of a job developing talent, and he's going to get these guys right, whoever it is, between Frazier and Ratledge, and like I say, all these guys, you know, some of these young guys we got. And there again, having Graham helps now. It's huge because he's got the flexibility to play both guards and center.
With Ahmed, what have you seen from Ahmed so far, and what kind of opportunity does he have here?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you start talking about the O-line, D-line for sure, even more so than the skill, it's hard to say because, like, there's a number of reps that his reps will walk through. Like, he didn't get live reps. Like, we had to back off on some things. So, man, I like his intensity. I like his urgency. He seems to be a pretty smart guy. There's things he's going to have to learn from. He's a little bit raw. But there's nothing that tells me, man, I don't like this guy or he's miles away or something like that.
I wanted to ask you about the schedule. We all saw it's the Bears week 2. When you saw that, did you like the idea of getting that kind of game with Ben Johnson out of the way early, or did you kind of maybe hope that it was maybe later in the year?
I'm indifferent to it. I mean, listen, we put them where you want them. Green Bay here, Chicago here, Minnesota here, Baltimore here, Kansas City here, the Rams here. We got to play them all. And we got to be ready to play every one of them 1 week at a time. So I'm excited for the way it's laid out. I love the home games. I love the road games. I love the night games, not as much. But we got some 1 o'clock this year, which is good. But we'll be ready, man. I don't care how it lines up. We got to be ready to go, and we will be.
Dan, you mentioned the development of the steps taken with Gibbs and Williams and Laporta, kind of the same breath with tweaking the offense. What does that mean for them exactly without, obviously, giving it all away?
Well, no, I think it's, you know, how many ways and times can we isolate one of these guys, right? I think that's what it comes down to. How do we get, all right, we know we're going to get the one-on-one with J-Mo here, and these are the best routes to use him on and let him really shine and do what he does. Laporta as well, Gibbs as well. And so that way, that's fine. You know, you want to take away Saint, you want to take away J-Mo, you take away Laporta. All right, well, Gibbs, here we go. Here's your 3 routes. Here's what you do best. Or any of those other guys. So I think it's, you know, it's not all that different from what we've done before, but I think so much of it will be, and how do we just, and simple plays here, and let those guys go to work, get it in their hands and let them go to work and do what they do.
Dan, you referenced the contract stuff. Whether it's Frank Ragnow or Dan Campbell, when it's time to decide that you're done, is that not always some part of the calculus as far as, you know, compensation versus what you're putting your body through, getting yourself ready, what you feel you can handle, you know, and as part of that, if there was any contract issue, do you feel confident the organization would have gotten something done if that was an issue?
Yeah, I think if that was the deal, I think we would have found a way because the communication would have been open and clean and clear. But I also know Frank, and this was not about that. This was not about that.
Is there a timetable at all for Malcolm? I know we've talked about some of the other guys long term.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be starting the season out. You know, if I conservatively, November. Or maybe that's probably the best way to say it. Probably November, somewhere in there.